Good evening, council members and Mr. Mayor. My name is Jim Muller. I'm a resident of the town of Mineral Springs, right next door. Being that Mineral Springs is such a small town, I find I do a good bit of my business here in Wesley Chapel, and I'd like to be able to say that such business will continue. I've had a legal concealed carry handgun permit for the past 7 years. This means I've been vetted by local, county, state, and federal authorities. I passed the required state mandated course, excuse me, which includes safe handling of a firearm and laws regulating when a gun can and cannot be used for defense. I also practice regularly, in some cases as much or even more than law enforcement. I have no criminal background. I am mentally sound. I am not a threat to anyone, at least not anyone who's not trying to harm me or my family. Excuse me, nervous today. I'm no vigilante. I don't go looking for a fight. I just want to go home to my family at the end of the day, as do you all. I'm not the type of person you need to be worried about. I usually carry a handgun everywhere I go when I'm able to do so. Tonight I choose not to, out of respect for the concerns of council members and citizens who are not comfortable around handguns. Again, this is my choice, not to do so. Criminals would have no consideration. In fact, a criminal or anyone with a grievance would only feel emboldened knowing there would be no resistance, as was tragically shown last week in France. There was a comment made in the last council meeting, and forgive me, I don't remember which one you said it, with respect to your right to feel safe. First, and with all due respect, the Constitution guarantees no such right and does not protect anyone's feelings. Your right to safety comes from within you. You have the right to learn to defend yourself by any means necessary. You have the right to keep and bear a firearm and learn how to use it to defend yourself and your loved ones. And please understand, no one's forcing you or even asking you to carry a gun if you're not comfortable doing so. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled in June of 2005 that the police have no obligation to protect you as an individual. That responsibility rests solely on your own shoulders. Secondly, with all the rights enumerated and guaranteed by our Constitution, your rights end when they intrude on the rights of another. Your safety does not and should not override my right to defend myself. Third, and I don't mean to sound cliche, I hate cliches, but if someone were to come in tonight with intent to do harm, a good guy with a gun may be your last defense you have. As I noticed, our deputy isn't here tonight. Lastly, the recent changes in North Carolina handgun laws have helped clarify some ambiguous language that was confusing at best. I feel we still have a long way to go, but that's another topic for discussion. What I do wish to convey is I have a vested interest in knowing and understanding all of the laws pertaining to the use of carrying handguns in the state. I follow Raleigh very closely and learn and understand all the new laws pertaining to legal carry. It is my duty to understand them, even to the point that I know more than some law enforcement officers, since if I make a mistake, it would be me going to jail. On top of that, any felony conviction, however unintentional, will mean the forfeit of my carry license, which I value too much to lose over a simple mistake. I will not go any place with a gun when it is not legal to do so. It is as simple as that. I have too much to lose. If a business is posted as a no-carry location, I will not support that business with my dollars. It is the business owner's choice whether or not to post, and I respectfully acknowledge that person's right. But no one is forcing me to shop there. If a government building is likewise posted, I may not always have the option to avoid that building. What this means is that there are many times that I'm forced to go somewhere unprotected. I find this intolerable. This is not a private facility. This is not a private business whose rights are greater than my own. This is a public space and belongs to the public, all of the public, all of the time. I understand that certain government buildings are restricted, such as the county courthouse. However, there's a tremendous law enforcement present there at all times. The county sheriff's office is in complete control of security at the courthouse. While we do have presence of a deputy here on site, at least we did the last meeting, with all due respect, he is only one man. Yes, I don't know of any of your personal backgrounds, and you don't know me other than what I just shared. It's my experience that those who are most uncomfortable around firearms are those who have had little or no exposure to them. I'll skip next. If anyone wishes, I will make the offer to have you as my guest at the gun range I belong to. Familiarity does help overcome some unease. I only ask that before any rules are passed, taking away my ability to choose whether or not to carry the means to protect myself, that you familiarize yourself with the use and handling of firearms. At the very least, you may come away with an understanding and appreciation for what gun owners generally represent. Unlike many issues today, there really is a black and white here, a right and wrong, the ability to protect myself versus being unarmed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Monkey. Next person signed up is Anthony Stevens. Mr. Stevens.
I'll be 3 minutes. Good evening, Council. My name is Andy Stevens, and I reside at 21091 Drive, Greensboro. I am Grassroots North Carolina's Director of Local Government Affairs, and I am here once again representing our members, including those who live here. I may be joined by some tonight. Others may send their regrets, but perhaps you've received an email too. Last month, we watched as this Council considered the matter of dangerous weapons ordinance. We cautioned you as representatives of law-abiding gun owners that there is no such thing as a dangerous weapon, only dangerous people. Such people, by definition, do not follow the law and are not deterred by magic signs. I pointed out your neighbors, the corporate leadership of Harris Teeter, have been assaulted for months by an imported Michael Bloomberg-funded gun ban hysteria that continue to rightly resist and reject, and I recommend that you follow their example. I reported to you that the counties of Glenorchy, Cabarrus, and Rowan have recently lifted all restrictions on lawful concealed carry for their employees and citizens, joining Ashe, Cherokee, Craven, and Forsyth counties, who did so earlier in 2014. Further, many other jurisdictions like yours have no current restrictions. Tonight I am aware of no county or municipality in North Carolina, other than Wesley Chapel, contemplating action to impose such new restrictions on law-abiding citizens. Lawful concealed carry has been the law in North Carolina for more than 20 years. In those 20-plus years, North Carolina permit holders, numbering 400,000 plus, have proven themselves to be safe, sane, and sober in their conduct. 15 months ago, our most recent expansion of gun rights occurred. It allows gun rights and freedoms to include places that charge admission, places that serve alcohol, and school and state government parking lots. Violence and carnage were predicted by the naysayers, but the naysayers were wrong. What have we learned since last we met? We've learned that mayhem continues to exist in gun-free zones, or criminal empowerment zones as they're more precisely defined. I gave you timely examples last month. Today I need merely point to you the stories coming from Paris, France, a gun-free country where the magic signs failed both unarmed law enforcement and citizens, leading to tragic results. Tonight I have for you a simple request. Trust your citizens and visitors to Wesley Chapel to do the right thing. Please table this matter tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Next person who signed up is William Rodriguez.
Good evening, everybody. My name is William Rodriguez. I reside at 438 Ronald Drive in Wesley Chapel. And I'm with these guys 100%. I've been concealed gun carry holder for 5 years. I don't go anywhere without it. It's on me just like my watch is every day, my cell phone is. I'm not a crazy guy out there. I'm not a cowboy. I'm just looking to be able to defend myself if the need arises. I agree with everything they've said. I believe I also have more training in law enforcement because we go to the range every other week. We practice different scenarios, whereas an officer has to just qualify to make sure he's still able to carry a gun. So these guys have pretty much covered everything that I was going to say. However, I think there's a couple of things in here that might be interesting to go over just to kind of give a little couple of statistics. So one of them is that we've been talking about the police officer that's normally on site here. Police are extremely important in reducing crime, but I have found that they are by far the single most important factor. If in case of emergency, that's the first thing I do is dial 911. However, the truth is, police even will admit that they don't always arrive on time. Usually arrive after something's already happened. So to the gentleman's point who spoke about Harris Teeter, I know that I've actually been in there and I wonder why there's a sheriff walking around and said, oh, you just got robbed 5 minutes ago. So, in a case like that, I believe the officers would also be pro guns for guys to go out there and get checked, get background checked. It's been changing. Everybody talks about Newtown. That was a tragedy. So in a way, what happens, advocates keep pushing for more restrictions for guns, but the proposed regulations have nothing to do with the tragedy. it's a panic, it's a jerk reaction, we gotta get rid of the guns. The truth is, the guys that are out there that really go through the system to make sure they carry them legally and they have them in their possession, they're trained to use them, those are the guys that you wanna have them. I mean, I wanna have them also. Okay, even far worse for gun control advocates, people are realizing that regulations such as gun-free zones tend to encourage attacks by it's kind of funny, there was a thing in Raleigh about 8 months ago where a restaurant was specifically targeted because they had big signs on there. I'm the same way. If I see no guns, I don't go in there. If there's anywhere I want to go and I need to go there but there's a gun sign, I'm not going to carry my gun because I'm not stupid. You know, I obey the law just like everybody else. For decades, there have been millions of permit holders. Today, there are over 12 million, and it'll probably be a very long time before there's another case where something happens, tragedy like Newton, unfortunately, something like that. But there are more gun holders in America, which is one of the reasons why we've never been attacked by outside countries. There are more citizens in the United States that have handguns than all of Europe combined. So one of the other things says that states saw no increase in accidental handgun deaths after adopting concealed carry laws. Some in the media have used the tragedies to exaggerate the risk of concealed carry, but even if one is looking at guns generally, not just permitted concealed handguns, accidental gun deaths are still very rare. There were 548 accidental gun deaths in 2012. That's the last year that statistic so far. That sounds like a lot, but the new Gallup survey, which is well documented, says there are 134 million homes in the U.S. that actually have at least one gun in the home. Could be a gun or rifle. So it says here that they have at least one gun in the home, meaning the accidental gun death rate is about 4 per 1 million people, which any death is a tragedy. But if you look at it like this, prospectively, it makes a big difference. So the last thing I want to close with is saying that media bias isn't just, it's just about how stories are covered, and it's also which ones they cover. So belonging to the NRA, I get things every month that will tell you, people that were able to protect their homes because they had a concealed handgun, or they just had a gun in the home. North Carolina is actually an open carry state, so you can just carry your gun out if you wanted to. But in a case like this, where you have that many people and such a low volume of things, I think in this town, part of the reason why I came down here is because they have certain risks exactly like that. So I really request that you guys really consider that and realize that the people that have the guns legally are the guys that you want to have them. And I don't want to be in a park and some nut starts running around and I can't do anything because I don't have it. Because I'm going to obey what you guys come up with. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Move on to additions, deletions, and adoption of the agenda at Town Hall. And if we decide to go forward, to call for a public hearing.
I would like, next,
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like us to drop this. I have read so much. We've gotten this to Gainesville Sheriff's Department. And this started out as something really minor, is my understanding, and it just snowballed. And I've checked tonight, and there's been about 16 conversations with our attorney over this already. And I just feel like that when we started out, it was minor, and we got into something that people did not know the rules, and it just, I think we could have dropped. I'd like to chop it off tonight. I make a motion. We drop this.
Second.
Okay, got a motion, a second, further discussion? I'm going to say one thing and one thing only, is that as an elected body, we have to do things in an open session. We listen to the comments that were made initially when we actually copied an ordinance, copied parts of an ordinance that is in Charlotte, for instance. We're not as big as Charlotte, we understand that. But they follow the same state statutes that we do. And there is in fact, one of the emailers today included the state statute, and item B in there specifically says that municipalities have the authority, if they want, to have a concealed weapons. That being said, I don't disagree with what my co-council members have said. So I will be quiet at this point and ask for a vote. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. It has been dropped.
Good evening. My name is Andy Stevens, and I am the Director of Local Government Affairs for Grassroots North Carolina. I'm here this evening, Monday, January the 12th, at the Village of Wesley Chapel because they were discussing this evening possibly enacting a firearms ban in Wesley Chapel Village facilities. Grassroots North Carolina learned of this last month, and in fact I did attend the meeting in December where this was continued to tonight. It originally started as a dangerous weapons ban and then morphed into a concealed handgun for permit carriers only. In other words, they would allow open carry to continue in the building, but they wanted to restrict the concealed carry permit holders. We did send out alerts. We did have a good representation this evening from local citizens, which is always important in these types of matters, because invariably, although we dump hundreds of emails upon these folks with our alerts, they always come back and say, well, you're not from this jurisdiction or you're not from this county. But I will tell you that the fact that they get those alert emails has a tremendous value, and it helps make my job easier when I go and attend these various functions. The success is evident tonight as the council voted unanimously to table this forever. So the good words that were said tonight and the efforts that were made, my efforts in particular coming out and as a volunteer attending these places to let them know that they are on notice, that they will not let these things happen, at least without someone speaking in opposition. But again, there was a good representation from local citizens in Wesley Chapel and Union County, and for each of those of you who attended and each of those of you who sent an email or perhaps called the various council people, I do thank you.
I'm David Waddell, former Indian Trail Town Council member, constitutional plumber, a lot of people know me as. I came here to Wesley Chapel tonight because I was very interested in this gun ordinance, possible firearms ordinance that they were going to consider tonight. It would have prohibited firearm concealed carry on the town hall property or government properties. And there are provisions within North Carolina general statutes that allow for that. However, we have to also consider the angle, and this is what I wanted to share with the council and with anybody who is here tonight that would listen. Just because you can do something legally doesn't always mean it's the best thing to do. Because when you disarm your fellow citizens, you make them vulnerable. And if you really look at all of the mass casualties involving firearms and aggression, you'll notice a very common thread, and that is they're all gun-free zones. So when you create a gun-free zone, you're creating a possible scenario in the future where there could be trouble. And if someone thinks there may be someone in there that can shoot back, they're a lot less likely to give any trouble with a firearm. So that's really the bottom line of it all, is that we have our Second Amendment rights. We have our state constitution that further describes those rights. We have general statutes that outline what municipalities can and can't do. Now, again, bottom line, just because you can do something doesn't always mean it's the best thing to do. And we have to practice some discretion along the way.